We're back on the channel with some mini game series. We've been getting into these little compact games from Decision Games. Gonna fire us up some Cactus Air Force here in a little bit. Air War over the Solomons. A little bit of a better illustration. It is air time. Air Forces getting away from the regular hex encounter armies and everything. We did the naval aspect, and we got a couple of these coming on up. There you go. When we get done with this one, we get to open us some Eagle Day, Battle of Britain. Like I said, it's air war time on the GWG channel. We'll be back. All right. Well, it'll be a nice lazy Saturday down here in the man cave, and we are getting ready for a playthrough of Cactus Air Force. Ooh, a little bit of an older game, 2012, designed by our man Joseph Miranda, and we played his Midway Solitaire game on the channel, I think a year or so ago. But this here is one of Decision Games mini games. Oops, sorry about that. And they have mini games, which is I guess our smallest, simplest, quickest games to play. Then it goes up to folio games, which is more of a actual folder, like maybe a school folder, bigger game. And they have Ziploc games, which is basically a box game, major game, but just in a Ziploc baggie. And we've been kind of taking advantage of their mini games, and it helps out this time of year because we're in between games. We got some games coming down the pike from Compass Games and GMT, but they're at the printer. They ain't here yet. Like I said in an earlier video, sometimes your clothes go out of style when you're waiting on these development processes. But in between then, we are here with a little bit of Cactus Air Force. A nice little P-38 Lightning, I think it is, or P-39. I'm not an expert, but like I said, we were getting away from the regular armies, in all of our games we played. We just got done with a little bit of a naval games with the Denmark Strait and River Plate game with the Bismarck. And another genre that we really haven't gotten into is the all-air aspect. And like I said, these are simple games, but old Joseph Miranda does have some strategy in this. We're going to start playing this one and show you the simplicity, but the strategy you have to employ to get, when it finally comes down to how to win, victory points. And here's a little look at the victory point schedule. And you'll notice here, under the victory points, these are allied targets. The Allies get +3 for a lot of these ground, naval, and naval action targets. Well, mostly the difference is in ground targets and naval targets. You can see the Allied player gets +3, but you move on over to the Japanese target list, and they get a point more. So a little bit skewed towards for the Japanese player, but I'm sure it's balanced in a way. Now, the naval actions, they both get +4. You can see there the Eastern Solomons. And those are represented by these little markers here. And these targets only come available via card play. So when you flip over a card and it says, time to bomb these targets, it's time to bomb those targets. But you only get a certain amount of time. And then the card expires and the target availability for victory points is expired with it. So there you go. Another difference, though, that we notice in this game is as long as this game is, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, and each month is 10 hours. So you basically got 50 turns. And from what I learned initially in the learn-throughs, these all get taken up pretty quick. I'm sure there's more strategy than I've been employing, and that's what this game here is about. But the difference, I think, comes into this little deal here. When you shoot down planes, you'll notice that Japanese player gets a point more for these targets but a point less for shooting down Allied planes, whereas the Allied player gets 2 victory points. So it's more valuable for the Allied player to shoot down Japanese planes as it is for the Japanese player to shoot down Allied planes. I mean, they all get victory points, but there is a difference. And it's something to think about when you're playing the game. Here you got all kinds of terrain effects, target, combat result tables, stuff like that, bombing tables, and like I said, they all come into effect. It's a small game. There you go. Here's a pencil compared to the map. So there you go. And we got it set up on my old toy chest, like I said. My old grandpappy made for me. The only bad thing about it is it's grooved. You see, so you kind of gotta watch it. But hey, we gotta make up room what we have. But other than that, we're gonna start playing this game, going through the phases, and we're not really gonna explain too much. We're just gonna play, and you can see what goes on there. We've had one learn through, and it went really good. Like I said, it's not much. It's not big on the rules, but Mr. Miranda has put a lot of game in a little package, and we'll see what's up with the victory points for the Allies. Little homemade rising sun. It's pretty shitty. I forgot. You know what? I think it goes like this. I'm pretty sure if you look on there, we gotta have a rising sun. So yeah, here you go. Oh, maybe it's just straight, but I was gonna say it's more of a. There you go. Yeah, something like that. They start off with. There you go. But anyway, we'll be back for some Cactus Air Force. All right. Well, this game starts off with something called the command level. You can see here at the beginning of the game, the U.S. starts out with a command level of 2 out of 4. And the Japanese player starts out with 3 out of 4. Now, command level represents the number of cards you will be dealt at the beginning of the game, and the number of units that can be stacked in a square space. So thus, the Japanese player can have 3 planes on a space. The U.S. only allowed 2. Stacking limits. We're going to begin with 3 cards for Japanese player. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2 for the U.S. player. There you go. Nice little illustration, nice cards. And that is represented by what is called the planning phase. All right, and it is the month of August 1942. Henderson Field has a capacity of 2 this month. So there you go. There's our 2 planes we have at Henderson Field. Wow. Oh, it's called the planning phase. First, the intruder player, which is the Japanese player in this game. Then the interceptor player, which will be the Allied player, equal to their command level, as I just told you. So now we'll flip over these cards, and it tells you here reinforcement phase. Well, that reinforcement phase comes up right now during the planning phase. First thing is a card pick. Then the second part of the planning phase is reinforcements. So you can see here, they give you an option. You can have your first pick, which is reinforcements. RR reinforcements. Refit 1 damaged unit. So since the game's just begun and we don't have anybody damaged, we will take R area force reinforcements. And here you go. R area reinforcements. And that's what they'll consist of. Is 1 A6M and 1 H6K. And there's our 2 planes that we get as reinforcements. We'll be able to put those on any airfield that is owned by Japanese. Let me get you a little bit closer there, because there's some nice counters. You can see, as a matter of fact, this might have been one of the first ones, because it was rough. But as I got into the process of just cutting them off the spew, and then you have to trim them up, you definitely have to do some counter clipping, as old Gary. He's got a counter clipper, but we usually are using scissors. But there you go. These 2 planes will come in as reinforcements. This here is a fighter. This here's a seaplane. So it's got special basing options. but it's mostly a bomber. You can see it's bombing force. It's got one bomb there. You'll be rolling one die for the bomb. This numbers here are their movement. This can move 4 blocks. This can move 2, or spaces blocks. 3 dice are thrown. When this one attacks, only 1 die. It's mostly a bomber. There you go. We put them on as reinforcements because those happen right away. Oh, let me see here. What else did we do? All right. And that is the... Oh, I'm sorry. Looking at the wrong cards. Our R area reinforcements. So that comes up now. When we're done putting them on the board, we'll put this back in the card deck and we'll reshuffle it. So there's our reinforcements. Another one here. We'll get the 6th Air Division. Our first pick is to bring on the reinforcements, or we can refit 1 damage unit. It's the beginning of the game. We have no units damage. Our disposition with this card is we'll reshuffle it when we're done. We'll get 6th Air Division reinforcements with this one too. Now this card here says immediate, so we'll be playing all these cards right away at the beginning of this game. Roll 1 die for each allied air unit in Henderson Field. On a 1 to 4, the unit is eliminated, so we'll get a chance to do that. So some good card play by the Japanese player to begin the game with. And there's our first set of reinforcements. Our second set will be the 6th Air Division, which is all these units here. Let's spread these out and see what we get to go on this. Oh, because there's some nice counters, and I want to highlight them. There you go. Again, a fighter rolling 2 dice can move 3 blocks. Another fighter, same thing. A little bit less of a fighter. The KI-48 is a bomber. Okay, not even a fighter. A little less movement, less in that air combat to fire back at the allied units, but he's got 1 die roll when it comes to bombing. Now, the 49, there you can see, fires back a little bit stronger, can move a little bit further, carries more bombs. So that will be our 2 reinforcements we could put on any of these fields up to their capacity. And, ooh, we get to roll 1 die for each allied air unit at Henderson Field. So a lot to do. Oh, it is getting time where I'm going to have to go out and eat breakfast. Little beautiful girlfriend's coming home from her morning duties, and that's part of our tradition. So when we come back, we'll continue play. We'll be deploying reinforcements and rolling for Henderson Field, Night of the Battleships. You can see what's going on there. So it must have meant that the Japanese pulled some forces or some naval units and opened up, I guess. And the Night of the Battleships, will find out what the damage was done when we come back. And then here at the planning phase still. And we picked our cards, and the first thing is the intruder / Japanese player gets to place his reinforcements or refit units. Now the key thing is here, the most forward base for the Japanese is the old short lands, but it can only have a capacity of 1. The nearest target for the Japanese is what I call this little Guadalcanal line. U.S.-Australian convoys, Henderson Field, Iron Bottom Sound. Anything past this line here, which is line 13, is targets. And the targets will go real quick. There's only 1, 2. After these 2 are bombed, they can't be bombed again. 3, and that's it. Then what you'll want to do as the Japanese player is hit these targets of opportunity when they arise, and or hit Henderson Field when it has units. It don't do nothing unless it's got units on, that are based. So you have to catch them when their units are based there. But mostly it'll come from shooting down allied units from what I'm gathering in my initial learn through. So here you go. We are going to base these units accordingly in our planning phase. And like I said, the only places to we'll be heading out for is Iron Bottom Sound, Henderson Field, and the U.S. Australian convoys. Coming from, ooh, well, there's Australia there. Another thing is, they have the capacity for the new Hebrides is 8, because it's a smaller field, and Henderson Field, but there's no capacity for Australia, meaning that it's a, unlimited capability on the little island down under. So there you go. Let me check out what I want to do with my reinforcements, how I want to place them. We'll be right back. All right, well, I've deployed as follows. I got me a nice little A6M. I don't know if that's a Japanese Zero or what, but it's got that range of 4 on my outermost spot to intercept, launch. We'll see what happens when it comes time to fly. That 4, though, that is not in parentheses, unlike, we don't have any parentheses. If that number 4 was in parentheses, he would have to land. It'd be short range, which means he can only go up and at it for a couple hours. Then he's got to land. The rest of this plane here is not in parentheses. He can fly all 10 hours, but after that 10 hours is up, he better land or else he's lost at sea. So I have one there in the short lens. He's at this capacity, so that must be a real small runway. Not too much bigger as one at Buka. Now, I do have a couple bombers there with that. So they'll be rolling 1 die for a bombing mission. Maybe he'll lead the way, and they'll try to get to their target. That's one of the key things in this game is grouping these guys together on little squadrons. I mean, you can do it any way you want, but that's just the way I've been learning it. But the thing of it is, Buka only has a capacity of 2, so there's my 2 bombers there. Now, over here, we're going to put all 8 at that. Ooh, what spot is this called? Well, Rabaul. Yeah, there you go, Rabaul. We have 2 other fields on each side of it here at Gasmata, and another one over here. We can't see what the name of it is, but Rabaul's got an 8. We'll just base them all there. And there you go, according to strength. That A6M, got our fighters. Now that SP, in parentheses, I mean, that's a seaplane. It's got special basing abilities. He can be based with this fleet or at a spot here with a runway, or maybe even a spot here with the infantry. So there's something special about him. You can tell their fighters, their strength is the 2 here, and there's their range. That little bomb is the number of dice you'll throw when you're trying to bomb them. The 3 is also the number of dice you'll throw. Or I'm wrong. The 3 is your range. The number in yellow is the number of dice you'll throw. So there you go. That's my disposition of forces for a Japanese player. And he has used up his reinforcements. Now, if it was later in the game, or I don't know how it works, but anyway, these cards get reshuffled. Now, they won't be able to be used as reinforcements anymore, this top part here, but you could use your second pick in the reinforcement phase, and these cards can still be used for refitting 1 damaged unit. That's why they're reshuffled. Other than that, this part of the card's already been used up, so they won't be able to, when they're drawn again in the pile after being reshuffled, they'll be good for this part of the refitting a damaged unit. So we will reshuffle those cards here, and when we come back, we'll carry out the other part of the Japanese players. Ooh, what is that? Planning phase / reinforcements, because this card play comes immediate. Be right back. Okay then, here at Henderson Field, we have played a card called Knight of the Battleships. And we're going to get the roll for every unit that is parked here at Henderson Field, because it just got hit with some naval fire, is what I am assuming. So we will roll 1 die for each unit there, as per the card. And it does say that on the 1 to 4, the unit is eliminated, but the card will be discarded after. So over here, 1 to 4 for the first unit on the left, and that's a 6. Oh, was that a 1-4? Sure was. So the old, oh, I can't see. Let's zoom. F4F. There you go, a fighter. He escaped damage. Let's see if the SBD dive bomber can escape. And oh nope. So that one gets nailed. That'll go over to the damaged box here, and he'll try to get refitted later. Oh yeah, a little first casualty of the game and first victory point. So, ooh, where is my pencil for my goofy rising sun? The Japanese player gets damaged, and they have a card that you can photo check out, photo print that has all this, but we're just going to do it this way. We'll get a +1. Or what does he get for his? They're different. We got to check that out again. For each allied unit in the damaged box is +1. The allies get a +2 on this, so they'll only get a +1. There you go. We might have to get rid of this. We'll be back. There we go. I like that a little bit better. But anyway, all right. First victory points of the game given to the intruder / Japanese player, and the allies are called the interceptor player in this contest. There you go. Putting in a damaged box is an F4. Ooh, what did we say it was? Oh, SFB. Oh, bomber. All right. Well, now we've played the interceptors. Our intruder. Who was that again? I forgot. Let's see here. Intruder. Yeah, intruder's first hour. So we played the Japanese player's cards. Here are the 2 cards that the allied player has. We'll see what he has here. All right. Select one of the following: reinforcement phase, refit 2 damage units, or we won't do that because we don't have no units that are damaged yet. In the combat phase, for 1 hour, increase your air combat value of all allied fighters by 1, and the bomb value of all bombers and fighter bombers by 1, then reshuffle into the deck. So we will definitely use that second part, combat phase. Let's see what this card here is. Bombing phase, 1 hour, increase them. Okay, there you go, reshuffle. And it's a wild card. Now, if you get 3 wild cards, you could turn them in for an increase in your command value, in your command level. So to go from 2 to 3, we'd have to turn in 3 cards. We can't use them for their events. We use them for their wild card value. So there's something that we could use for the allied player. We could increase our combat value for 1 hour. So we'll have to pick and choose when to use these cards. There they are here. All right. And the Japanese players used all 3 of his. So that is it. Now, next in line in the sequence of play is, after the reinforcement phase, we'll come over here. It says that next, place all units and decoys from the abort box onto the map. Comes the redeploy phase of the placement phase, or the planning phase. So we're still in the planning phase here. And this will be the last segment of it, and we'll read this together. First, the intruder, which is Japanese, then the interceptor allies player moves their ground units. They then move their air units to any friendly base. This is at the player's option. So now, everything we've done here is moot. You can pretty well do whatever you want with any of your units according to, base limits. So if there's any last minute adjustments you want to make on any of these base units, you can do that. Let me look it over, see if there's any difference we want to make, because now we have only 1 unit at Guadalcanal, and we are allowed a capacity at Henderson Field of 2. So maybe it does come into play. See if we want to do on what we want to do on that. I'll be right back. All right. Well, I was going to transfer some of these around, but then I'm going to keep them all here. The old boy down here, New Hebrides. I'm going to move up. He's only got a range of 2, but he'll be transferred from there. to the full capacity given to Henderson Field. It's got full capacity of 2 units. So there you go. We'll keep all these boys based here in Australia. And another thing is, Australia and that new Hebrides, that yellow dashed line around them, that box, means that, ooh, Australia, New Hebrides, U.S. only. So Japanese can't fly into those boxes. All right, I think that's it. We're going to call this a video real quick, and when we come back, we'll commence with the game. And we'll start with the first hour of play. See what the Japanese want to do. We'll be right back. We're back to playing games. Doing the mini-series thing. We're kind of short for time. It's my busy time of year. I'm lucky to have as much time playing games as you see. So, yeah, mini games for many time slots. And, well, like I said, we got a little bit of a lull between the big games. But we'll be back.